Hey everyone, it's Ewan from What Culture, and today I've got a little bit of an MCU theory for you all, and it's all about Venom. How brilliant. Since around 2011, Marvel have actually gone to great lengths to explore the origins of the symbiotes, the beings that created Venom, Carnage, and all those other cringy 90s characters that have since developed a cult following in their own way. And yeah, the stuff they've come out with in recent years has been really interesting, giving the character a more cosmic origin and actually in place in the fact that the symbiotes, to begin with, were actually noble beings. Though common perceptions of the symbiotes has always tended to cast them as an evil influence, the truth, well, in recent times, is actually the complete opposite. Explored fully in a Guardians of the Galaxy comic a few years ago, it was actually revealed that the symbiotes' true name were the Clintar, a noble alien race that were kind of the original Guardians of the Galaxy until they were corrupted by an outside force. Now, thanks to Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's new Venom comic, which yes, you should definitely be reading, that origin has just been developed further, and it's one tailor-made for the MCU. The pair stint on the character had already proven to be one of Marvel's best, but apart from being just a stellar Venom comic in the first place, this latest issue truly redefines what the symbiotes are, and may have potentially even clued us in on how Disney may look to introduce the characters going forward in the MCU. First things first, the issue itself actually starts with the beginning of the Big Bang. In the Marvel Universe, there are actually beings older than that momentous event, including the Celestials, and in this particular comic, a character called Null, who is basically the god of the symbiotes. And now, thanks to a theory confirmed by Donny Cates, it actually turns out that Null was responsible for killing the Celestial that would later go on to become Nowhere. The floating head has, of course, featured in the MCU before, but its origins until now have been left in the dark. As the issue itself explains, Null is actually the first being to encounter the Celestials as they enter the universe to shape it in their own image. The light cast gives Null his own shadow, and reaching into it, he pulls out a symbiote-like sword and fells one of them in one instant slash. It's a really, really cool image, and the fact that it actually is Nowhere makes the whole thing even better. It's soon revealed that this sword was actually the first symbiote, before Null himself is repelled by the Celestials using fire and sound, creating the symbiote's two most famous weaknesses. The interesting thing here, however, is that the issue provides a definitive origin for Nowhere, a place of key importance in the MCU. Fans themselves had also speculated that Celestials may be responsible for the introduction of the X gene for the X-Men later down the line, but if they could also provide the origins of the symbiotes too, that would be really, really cool. But it gets even better, because Cates and Stegman's deep dive into the history of the symbiotes actually ties into Asgardian mythology and elevates one of the best Thor stories ever told in recent times. The issue itself reveals that the shadow-like sword Gorr the God Butcher used to fight Thor and Odin with was actually the same one that Null cast when he first met the Celestials. This is a pretty big deal, because not only does it weave the origins of the symbiotes into Marvel's cosmic history, but its Asgardian one as well. Gorr, sadly, has not yet been featured in the MCU, but with demand for a follow-up to Thor Ragnarok having hotted up considerably in recent months, it wouldn't be difficult to see the character in a sequel further down the line. It's even likely that the character is actually on Marvel Studios' fabled character cards, alongside the likes of Moon Knight, Kamala Khan, and Miles Morales. We've already seen Thor team up with the Guardians to great effect in Avengers Infinity War, but now that the symbiote's origin has tied them together even further, there is a link there waiting to be capitalized on in the big screen, whether it be in a Guardians film featuring Thor or a Thor film featuring the Guardians. But what is it about this origin that makes it so perfect for the MCU, apart from, everything we already just discussed? Well, it's because it gives us a threat after Thanos in a character called Null, who's already made a massive impression since being introduced in last week's comic. This new link between the symbiotes, the Guardians, and Asgard is going to take months to unpack, but it's a premise with undoubted promise, and one that Marvel should capitalize on as soon as possible. A Guardians and Thor team-up film could easily work wonders with the symbiotes as its main focus, or in just a solo film for either of those respective properties if they so choose to. Further still, if it does turn out that Sony's Venom movie won't be connected to the MCU, then it would allow Disney to provide their own definitive take on the character. Even if the film is connected to the MCU, a quick retcon that establishes that the suits are alien in origin wouldn't be difficult to convey in the slightest, and would provide a suitable link between the MCU's three principal franchises, those being Spider-Man, the Guardians, and Thor. And though, yes, countless other villains have been mooted to take on a starring role in the wake of Thanos' inevitable departure, including the likes of Annihilus and Galactus, this most recent addition to the Marvel Universe possesses boundless on-screen potential, and he's only been featured in one issue. Have Null be the focal point of a future phase, introducing the symbiotes here and there along the way, and there's no doubt he could fit the Thanos-style role currently being occupied by Josh Brolin. But anyway, I want to know what you all think of this theory. Is it really the perfect way to introduce the symbiotes to the MCU, or would you rather that Sony's Venom movie took precedent in this instance? Then be sure to like, share, and subscribe, then head back over to whatculture.com for more symbiote-style content every day. As always, I've been Ewan, and I'll see you next time.